Okay, what's poppin', everybody? What you're about to watch is me pulling up on Mr. Morj, IRL, debating a bunch of various things, talking about a bunch of various things. This is a fun collab, different because again, it's IRL. We talked about a bunch of things. So first, there's gonna be a part on this channel. There's gonna be a part on his channel. So after you watch this, the link to his channel will be in the description box down below for the other parts. And some behind the scenes stuff will be on the Patreon. So if you wanna see that, you can join the Patreon and have access to some of the behind the scenes stuff. So very fun stuff. Give me your thoughts after the video and let's go.
I'm thinking of how it would work is like if you're surprised I was just walking by. Like, holy shit. Bronco DS. I have a camera set up with a mic here for no reason.
Let's I have my plush, dude. I could be like a street side plush seller, like, hey, you wanna do like what?
They would have been perfect.
Yeah.
I see stupid comments or comments that I feel like could be viewed as idiotic or, all right, I don't understand where this is coming from.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like 7 years old.
I like the Twitter ads when they try and make me read a theory, but from the title of the theory, I can tell it's not something I'm gonna get behind. So like they sell it really, really badly. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you're talking about like on Twitter, like a whole tweet longer?
Yeah, there's
thing?
like, here's 50 tweets in a row of like this crazy theory that I'm like convinced is the answer to One Piece. Like,
I think that's harder as a YouTuber to hone in on and care about because you get it all the time. Where it's like, hey, there's this theory that it's just, I promise you. There are times where I read it and I give it a chance and I'm like, what the f?
No, dude, it's like
I wasted my time doing this. I think I'm more inclined to watch like if you make a video about it. I'm like, all right, you took the time out to make a video, then I'll probably check out at least the first minute. If the first minute is fine, then I'll watch the entire video.
That's the thing. It's like nothing personal. Like you might have a really good theory, but you gotta understand. Like, one, a lot of people ask me about that stuff.
A lot of people.
And two, I don't even watch other YouTubers' videos nowadays. Like I don't like. This is no offense to you. I don't watch Joy Boy's videos. I don't even watch Ohara's videos. And like that's someone I know really well.
But some people, I don't think they understand because even today I saw people talking about Ohara's video, right? Because I think he had a theory from a Japanese YouTuber who feels like they found out whatever, right? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I probably would not watch it on my own time, but I'd probably like talk to Ohara, hey, do you want me to do a live reaction with this? But I wouldn't watch it on my own time because it's not, I don't want to kind of up my own way of how I'm thinking about things, but I'll do it for content per se, in regards to going to another YouTuber's channel and watching things, and it fucks with my own shit. So I don't want to like up my own mojo, and then sometimes I don't want to feel kind of insecure about talking about something. Like, okay, I just watched a Morj video about this. I'm gonna like be saying things that I've heard you say.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me avoid that topic altogether. So everything I say, you know, it's my thoughts. So then when I say something, people are like, oh, Grand Line said that, or Joy Boy said that. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I didn't watch anything that they said. So that's why it's like, it's easier for me to do that by not just watching content.
I know that feeling 100% because like, especially early on. Now I care less, but early on, I was very, very picky. I didn't want anybody to ever believe that I had pulled my thoughts from somewhere else.
Right.
So I was very picky. I would actually go and
feel that way.
Yeah, like I would go and actually check up on Reddit. If I had a theory, I would check up on Reddit.
Oh, okay.
Like, has this thing been talked about before in the same way that I'm talking about? Just because I didn't want to, you know, I just don't want to like actually end up in a situation where it's like, oh, you're ripping off of this guy, you're ripping off of that guy. It's like I just didn't know.
YouTubers do that sometimes as well. Because I've had other YouTubers hit me up like, hey, I've seen that you talked about this. Are you okay with me? I'm like, bro, I don't give a like, I talked about that before, but that doesn't stop you from talking about it. So personally, I don't look around because I think if you look around, then you click on the video, then it's like, all right, it's getting too much insight. So I'd rather be ignorant.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I didn't see anybody's video because I didn't go looking for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather do that than to be aware of, oh, Joe Boy talked about Zoro conquers Haki. But that's like such a fucking general topic.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that I can say, and you can say, I got it from somebody else. It's Zoro conquers Haki.
Yeah.
Only so many things you can say about that. So
by the way, how'd you feel about the Zoro conquers Haki incident from, what was it, episode 984?
84, 984.
How'd you feel about that?
For reaction, it's amazing. I think it's amazing. I think the anime is adding some context. It is weird, and I think as a manga reader, it's like I'm trying to put the kind of the elitism
Yeah.
on hold. Where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come at this from just like a perspective of a fan, right? Right. I like the story. I like Zoro. It's hype. It's cool. We have more context. 997, 1010. We're like, okay, how can this make sense for everything that's going on? And then you just try to rationalize it. So for me, I rationalize it as initially that Zoro just either didn't know what he was doing, or it's just the way the anime is kind of just taking a different route, where either is fine, but I don't think it's bad.
So I'll be honest again, I've not seen
The entire
clip.
episode. Oh, you haven't seen the clip?
I haven't seen the clip per se, but I've seen stills of it. So I feel like
You should watch it right now.
watching it right now. Why don't you describe it to me?
Okay.
And I think you're a very vivid explainer, so I think I'll get the gist
So,
of it.
when I initially watched it, earlier in the scene, a guy taps Zoro, and he turns around and it's like
This is a Beast-Pirate fodder, from what I understand.
right? Turns around and it's like a whole, like, conquers hockey thing.
Yeah.
But nothing happened to him. So it's like, okay, is this what people are going crazy about? So then I'm like just watching the episode, then it happens again, but it's like the people are talking bad about the Bisu people and Okabore. So then Zoro's like forcing alcohol into his mouth. Then other guys come around and pile on. Then Zoro like turns around and then the screen goes like red and black. And like the guys like go up into the air and then they fall to the ground.
Okay.
And it's like Conquer's hot. It's like red aura everywhere.
Yeah.
But then Zoro says, they're like, yo, what happened to them? And Zoro says, well, they just passed out from drinking.
Is that Zoro being... Because that's the big question for me. I would be fine if, like... I wouldn't be fine, but I'll get to this in a second.
Yeah.
I would be more fine with it if it's Zoro was not aware that he did it. Was that the vibe, or was Zoro being literal... Like, was Zoro being literal when he thinks that they passed out from drinking? Or is it that Zoro knew that he used Conqueror's Haki? Because that changes it drastically.
I'm seeing both sides. I'm seeing a lot of people, because when you
Your
watch
first
the
take.
scene, initially, I thought he knew it.
Okay.
Because I'm like, okay, is this just Zoro being cool? Because he can't say, oh, I used Conqueror's Haki to knock him out. So I'm like, oh, he 100% knew that he did that. And the fact that he mentioned Conqueror's Haki in, like, Fishman Island,
Yeah.
he knows about Conqueror's Haki. So, like, people getting knocked out in that way, could it be just him being completely ignorant and just not knowing what he's doing?
Yeah.
But based on how it went, I think he knows what he's doing. Some people are saying, well, he probably just didn't know that he did it. Maybe he was just being intense as he normally is, and that knocked him out. Because we've seen it before in the story where Zoro just glare at somebody and then they just back off or they just, whatever. But they just completely, like, knocked out. So it depends on your perspective.
The thing is that I don't know if then in that case it's the anime taking things too far. Because my interpretation with that Kaido scene that we get later on, Kaido, the rooftop, Zoro, that was our first confirmation that Zoro has conquered.
There's some nuance there as well.
So the question is, if Oda in the future is actually planning a sort of arc where, one, Zoro's unaware that he has Conqueror's Haki.
Right.
It's just like a latent thing that he's kind of touching into occasionally, like Luffy was, towards the end of pre-time skip, right?
Yeah.
Little unconscious stuff. If that's the case, then Zoro realizing that he has it and then developing it, hopefully through some sort of leadership arc or something along those lines, then that would be important that he doesn't know that he has it yet, because that's part of him coming into his own as, the right hand of the Pirate King, as a leader in his own right. Versus, I think it's really different if Zoro already knows he has it and he's just been, like, not using it for the entirety. Yeah.
It's weird because if he's hands off and he's known he's had it and hasn't used it, then it's kind of like reverence to Luffy.
Yeah, it's just like, I won't use Conqueror's Haki around you.
Because even in Fishman Island, I thought that was a perfect opportunity where it's like, if he knows it, Luffy knocked out 50,000, then he just shows like what he can do. Yeah. And that'd be a perfect like Zoro Sanji thing where Sanji can't use it and Sanji's like, oh, like, but the nuance I mentioned was people were saying in 1010 when Zoro said, I don't know what you're talking about. Basically, they're talking about coding.
The advanced version.
The advanced version. He wasn't talking about the regular version. But the issue is that we haven't seen this regular version in the manga. Well, I know people use like the Monet thing and different things to say like there are hints there. Like we all speculated that he has it, but there's been nothing as definitive as this episode ever.
That's the thing that. So my interpretation right? Or my guess, you could call it theory, speculation, whatever, was that, so Zoro with Ashura, right? We now know that that's Advanced Conquerors, right? The funny thing was that Zoro didn't use Ashura that often in the series, right? So he used it...
3 times?
3 times.
Yeah.
Only 3 times. And people were always like, why doesn't he use it more frequently? Because Luffy came back from the time skip, he could
Spamming everything.
Yeah. He was like, I use gears like when I wake up for breakfast now.
Yeah.
Sanji, he sets his leg on fire for fun, right? Like all the time. Zoro didn't use Ashura.
Didn't.
My interpretation was basically that, like, if it's Conqueror's Haki related, then that makes sense because Zoro himself doesn't have control of that ability just yet. And the times that he has used Ashura in the past were intense situations.
Right. Forced. He was forced to.
Yes, forced to. Like, he kind of, maybe not even conscious of how he's doing this ability, but he's just like, okay, I'm able to use my spirit in a certain way at some point. That's how I liked it. And I understand maybe my interpretation of that was wrong, which
That
is why
makes
I
sense,
don't...
though,
I like that a lot.
Have you seen a Dragon Quake?
What? What?
Daishin Kun? You ever seen that? Well, that's what he used against Monet. But he did it,
yeah, no, of course.
But he did it again in Wano, in the anime. It was a gambling scene with Yasu. And there's some guys, they ripped him off, whatever. So then he used like no sword style. Tatsumaki rips up everything.
Yeah.
Then they attack him. And then his eyes start glowing. There's the effect.
Yeah.
And like he cuts them all. Right? But they're not actually cut.
Okay.
Then they all pass out.
So wait, so was that Conqueror's Haki the anime was dropping it all the way back then? Dude, how much does the anime know?
So this was in Wano though.
Yeah.
This was in Wano as well. But it's early with all the way back then with Yasu.
Before even that Kaido scene.
Yes.
Like in the rooftop.
Where he used the Daishin Kan. And like it was reminiscent of Ashura because it seemed like he was channeling the Haki through the sword.
Okay.
So then you saw the eye glow, you saw the effect, and then everyone was knocked out. And he seemed like, okay, he was somewhat, I mean, it's an attack.
Yeah.
Right? So it then makes things weird, but if the anime is doing it like this, they're insinuating that Zoro already knew that he has Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah, I guess at the very least, I'd say that if it's a case that Zoro does already know that he has Conqueror's Haki, then and that's canon in the manga too. And I just misinterpreted that whole Kaido scene. I think I would still not like the anime dropping it the ways that it has, just because the Conqueror's Haki is like a big deal. Like, it's a big deal for what it reveals about your character. I think that using it on random fodder in like what's technically a filler scene, and again, I've not seen this episode. I've heard negative things about this episode for other reasons, but you know, I've heard that they just lassoed out Luffy and threw him on there with some negative filters or something like that. So I've heard some stuff about that
as well.
But I've heard that from people who normally speak really highly of the anime, so I would trust that opinion, you know? If this is a bad episode, that it's just a bad episode. Hey guys, so, here with myself, B.D.A. Law. Yep, get 2 of those in. They didn't see the first one.
No, I had that one more time.
Okay, good. So, we got some questions, and Braga reminded me that I did technically say it's a Q&A. I promised it's a Q&A. This, by the way, is the other...
You didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I wanted to...
I didn't promise, technically.
This is the other One Piece YouTuber that I was talking about. It wasn't some other guy, and I just happened to find Braga. It was Braga. So, we got some questions from y'all. A couple of things, if possible. Will we ever find out who Nami's biological parents are?
In an SBS.
Okay. Yeah, in an SBS.
Yeah, in an SBS. Not in the story, though.
But it'll be something crazy like Crocodile.
Crocodile.
And Oda just drops it in SBS.
Bella Betty.
Nami's parents were Arlong.
Arlong all along. What the hell?
Who's Luffy's mother?
What?
I don't know, dude. We've got no theories on that.
Who is Luffy's mother? I don't know. It's weird. There's no name. I feel like she's nameless. She's just a woman that Dragon cared about that got killed by a celestial dragon.
I've heard theories that she was a celestial dragon. I actually kind of like that, just because, you know, it makes for an interesting story for Dragon.
Make it interesting.
You got anything on the treasure of Morjwa? Anything interesting on that?
Well, there's this thing that I've been, I don't know, I throw it out there every now and again about origin devil fruits, where there are a certain group of devil fruits that the world government, they want because those are the devil fruits of origin and those are typically the most powerful, and they have like alternate effects and shit like that. So maybe it's like one of those devil fruits that they have that, you know.
Wait, what are you talking about?
So they're like set devil fruits that basically went into the creation of the One Piece world.
Okay.
So for instance, it would be like Anel's fruit, maybe Aokiji's fruit, Whitebeard's fruit, things like that, where those were like the first fruits off of the devil fruit tree, and then everything kind of branched off from that. But the Gomu Gomu no Mi being one of them with rubber, shit like that.
For whatever reason.
It's one of them. But I think the treasure could be a devil fruit.
Okay.
Yeah, I never really thought about it that much. I mean, when Doflamingo said it, it was just like, I don't know. But
dude, I feel it's so weird because like we talk about One Piece ending potentially soon.
yeah,
I swear to God, in the last 200 chapters, we've gotten more lore, like weird lore questions dropped on us than like the entirety of everything before. You know what I mean? Like
now
more being thrown at the wall.
the hierarchy is different now. Right?
Yeah.
Because we're like, all right, we have all the Gorosei to defeat, and then
Yeah.
now we have this big baddie, this figurehead,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, what's their purpose? We have the cleansing,
Yeah.
and so now we're trying to figure out how all of that ties in, and how it makes sense based on when Oda wants to end the story. So
Yeah.
it's kind of turned things on its head, to be honest. We thought we had like everything in place, but now I don't.
No, I mean, and that's one thing that I really like. Look, One Piece, I'll get on it in terms of like, I don't always love like the chapter to chapter things that are happening, right? In a given arc, there are things about Wano that I've definitely not enjoyed as much as I thought I would. But I've always maintained that One Piece, at least in terms of like the long-term vision of it, the long-term structure, and kind of like Oda's really, really good at pacing out his drops and his reveals in a way that, one, it feels organic, so it usually feels like you can tie it back into, there's little hints, like even with Im, people were talking about like, you can go all the way back to Doflamingo's conversation at the end of the Marineford War. He was talking to that CP0 guy or whatever, talking about like there's somebody above you. Like usually things don't just feel out of the blue. It always feels like you can find the seeds or the trail leading up to it. Yeah, so I really like the long-term planning of One Piece. I think I'll always hold on a pedestal. It's the arc to arc stuff where I'm like, he's kind of too much, or like too quick, or like too little, or like, you know what I mean.
I feel like Oda, it's like, okay, I have a beginning, I have an ending. Now how we get there, I don't know, but I know what I want to get to. Yeah. So as I go through it, that's cool. Yeah. Let's just do that. Yeah. Right? And then, that would be cool if we did this. Yeah. Because if it's everything planned, that's f***ing boring.
No. You get bored as a writer. You can't just do it. You're just executing something you figured out 30 years ago.
So for him, it's like, all right, I know where I want the end of Wano to be. Yeah. But we're going to have fun going through it, different beast pirates. I'm sure Fortrix and Hamlet, out of nowhere.
Are we still talking about that? All right.
You want to list your top 5 favorite smileys?
Yeah. I know 4 of them. I got Hold'em, Fortrix, and Hamlet because we brought them up. Right. Speed, Batman's, I don't like him.
You don't like Batman?
So we only got 4.
I think, so Hamlet, Fortrix.
Who's the elephant guy? The warden.
Babanuki,
I like him.
Yeah, for me, Hamlet, Fortrix. I like Speed. I didn't like Speed. I didn't really like Hold'em that much.
I remember there was a chapter in Act 1 of Wano that ended with like, so Luffy's approaching that village, Hold'em's in the village, Zoro's there, Law's there, and like Hawkins is there, alright? And like the chapter ends with like, those hype notes or whatever, it's like 4 supernovas and a headliner. Really exciting. I'm like, no, one of these things is not like the other.
That was back then when Oda was trying to sell the headliners as a threat. Yeah. It was like, I don't think the headliners are going to be that much of a problem. Especially when I think we saw one of them and they reacted to Zoro in a way. I was like, if Zoro's threatening these people, like, I mean, it's f***ing Zoro. Yeah. It's like, I didn't expect much from the headliners anyway.
Yeah. Let's do this as the actual last question. You hear about that Bleach chapter? Were you ever a Bleach fan?
I was a Bleach fan. I am a Bleach fan.
Oh, I am? Nice correction.
I'm a Bleach fan. I didn't finish Bleach, though. I was gonna...
I was a Bleach fan. I am a Bleach fan. I never finished Bleach.
The last arc of Bleach, I dropped it at a particular fight, and I was like, okay, the anime is coming back. I was going to read it and finish it, and when I found out the anime was coming back, I was like, okay, I might as well just wait. Yeah. So now, after the anime, after I watch the entirety of it, then I'll care about the final chapter. But I'm like, what's the purpose of this chapter? Like, is Bleach coming back? Because you got Kubo out of there as fast as you could.
Yeah.
So now having another chapter of Bleach, are you feeling pressure because of all these series ending and you want like a new spark?
Yeah.
One Piece is coming to it. Like, what are you trying to do here? I don't know, but I mean, is it hype? I'm sure for people that are caught up to Bleach are really excited about it. I would be for One Piece. One Piece went away for years, and then all of a sudden, there's like, another chapter of One Piece. Fucking
no, that'd be huge.
Yeah, so I think for Bleach fans, I can understand like this is major.
I've always said, like, Bleach was once tied with me. When I was a kid, it was tied with me for One Piece as my favorite series. At points, I was like, I like Bleach better. This was, like, a long, long while back. I really, really was a Bleach fan. I think during the Aron Carr arc, you know, the entire post-Soul Society, I think I was losing that, basically. And then by the end of that arc, I was like, I'm not that hot on Bleach. And then, like, the final arc, I really wasn't feeling it.
You didn't like, the final arc...
Thousand Year Blood
War.
Yeah.
Because you were reading it.
I was reading it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I wasn't feeling it. I don't want to get into, like, you know, a war with Bleach fans or whatever. I just did not like that. If this new chapter is either redoing the final battle of that, which I don't think it will be, I'd be on board, or it's the start of a new part of Bleach, then I'd be cool with that. Like, if it's a way to test a new sequel to Bleach or something.
It's odd, because Bleach sometimes, the ending, when I think of the ending of Bleach, I think of Ichigo versus Aizen.
That's the thing, I never felt, and Bleach fans, like, get on my ass for this, like, no, technically this Quincy stuff was set up for the 1,000 Year Blood War or whatever, but I'm like, no, but the entirety of the story was really, really built around this Aizen conflict, right? Yeah. That was, like, what 95% of it was built around? Just because there's 5% that technically allowed it to segue into another storyline.
It's something they pulled out to kind of get more out of the story.
Yeah, I mean, and stuff like the Royal Guard, the Soul Society King, that could have worked within the context of the Aizen arc. He just chose to save it for another part. So
I thought like that. Like the moments of Ichigo versus Aizen, the final one, it just felt so. It felt final, right?
Yes.
It felt like, okay, this is it. This is the wrapping up of the series. Yeah. They got so damn strong. It was just like, all right.
No, it was insane.
It was
like
crazy,
swinging,
you know,
throwing around mountains.
Destroying mountains.
Yeah,
it was amazing. So that's the final for me. Maybe once I watch this anime, last arc, it'll feel different.
I'll say this for Bleach fans, which is like, I maintain that Soul Society arc, it's a top manga arc ever for me. I think like
it is.
It gets me as pumped as any One Piece arc.
And
basically.
Bleach music still gets me pumped.
Bleach music, I maintain, is the best out of the big three. Some people say One Piece, some people say Naruto.
Bleach music, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I might agree with that.
I really, because I can listen to Bleach music on a certain day and like kind of get a little hype.
I would say so. One Piece OSTs though,
they're really, really good. They fit the vibe of the series so well. But like, I don't know, Ichigo's number one, maybe because of the middle school phase I was in.
I think Bleach does really well of getting you hype.
Yes, really, really
more
good
than any other series. But One Piece, like atmosphere, emotional impact. It
yeah,
plays,
the emotional impact. That's what they play those backstory music. I'm like, I don't want to cry today.
Well. They do that very well.
All right, so we're gonna call it on that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's basically it. Hey, we're gonna call it on that. Is that one better? What? This is probably going on the second channel.
Yeah, but still.
Hey, I don't know where this one's good. This one might be on the main channel or the second channel. Subscribe to either. Subscribe to both.
Yeah, guys, that was it. So again, very fun collab. Had a really great time. I had such a good time. I'm like, you know what? I should probably do this more often, where I pull up on just random YouTubers and just have a conversation IRL. Of course, not right now because there are a lot of things going on in the world. But that was really fun. That could definitely be a series of vlog where I travel and do different things. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Guys, like and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.